Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayer Podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, please go and leave a 5-star review. I read the best reviews every week. Just saying it, It could be anything you want, and I'll read it if it's 5 stars on there. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. I want to tell you guys about Cushy Dreams. Cushy Dreams offers a full lineup of premium smokable CBD. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, aka bud, in cans and pre-roll CBD joints. This stuff tastes great. It looks, feels, smells just like high-quality weed. My favorite blends are for sure Hustle, because it gives me it calms me down, but it's still I'm not just dozed off. I just take a couple pulls. I'm a joint person. I'm not a bud person. Maybe because I don't have something I love to smoke it out of. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm past the age where I'm going to smoke out of an apple or a bong or something. The occasional bong hit is nice, but we're adults here. We smoke our CBD. We like to enjoy all of the health benefits of CBD without getting high. These products have under 0.3% THC. It's cannabis that ships directly to you. It's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. Cushy Dreams, smoke your CBD. These guys take the artisan approach. Every run is a small batch. It's 100% hand trimmed, never machine trimmed. And they're obsessed with purity. They're obsessed with compliance. You can see on their website here, all of their lab results and safety are showed here. Pretty straightforward on everything. And best of all, it's grown here in the USA. Each batch is slow cured for 2 to 4 weeks to guarantee maximum freshness and preserve flavor and cannabinoids. Cushy Dreams has CBD flower and pre-rolled joints in specific indica sativa blends like Energy, Hustle, Relax, and Dream. So go to cushydreams.com. That's Kushy, and get some high quality CBD bud. And for all my CMP listeners, use the promo code CMP. You're going to get 20% off every order, plus free shipping. Guys, I'm doing some stand-up, and I'm doing it in a city near you. This Saturday, I'm performing at the Tiff's Ale House. It's the Comedians of the Compound. We're coming to Morris Plains, New Jersey. Then catch me in Wilmington, Delaware. Catch me outside Wilmington, Delaware at the House of Laffs, April 23rd and 24th. Then I'm heading to Florida, the Boca Black Box. Oh, yes, April 9th, I'll be at Stand Up New York. Let me write that down as well. 4-9, that's New York City, boys and girls. Stand Up New York, also with Comedians of the Compound. Then heading to Florida, April 30th, Boca Black Box Theater in Boca. May 1st, Lake Park Black Box Theater in Palm Beach. May 2nd, Side Splitters in Tampa. May 9th, that's the Bricktown Comedy Club in OKC. May 14th and 15th, Comedians of the Compound coming to Austin, Texas. I think that's the big Laffs comedy club down there. May 18th, Zany's in Nashville. May 19th, Stand Up Live in Huntsville, Alabama. June 3rd, Hilarities in Cleveland. Quick shout out to our other sponsor. The sponsors this month, it's all about putting stuff in your mouth. It's Lucy. Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck. These products were researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 great flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. They also have a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in a cherry ice flavor. And I swear each and every flavor actually tastes great. It's convenient, discreet. These products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even at the gym. It's 2021, boys and girls. It's time to ditch your cigarettes, unplug that vape, throw out that nasty dip, and get you some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal here. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple. You don't have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down. And for all my CMP listeners, go to lucy.co, use the promo code CMP. You're going to get 20% off all products, including gum and lozenges. That's lucy.co, and use promo code CMP at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning: this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. You know what else is addictive? Saving 20%. So use that promo code CMP. This gum is good. I've had it. It doesn't taste like cigarettes. I'm not even a smoker and I like it. So what does that say? All right. Very excited to have this guy on the pod. He is a friend. We can tell the story of how we met. It's pretty fun. And like, I remember the first gig I did with him. That was pretty memorable. This guy is a triple threat. He's a comedian. He's a writer. He's a producer. God, he's even a libertarian. He does it all. It's Lou Perez.
Hey, thank you. I'm a triple threat, but the fact that I'm a libertarian means that I'm not a threat at all. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change your world. I'm not going to change your government.
Oh my God! But you're going to be against it every step of the way.
Every step of the way. Every 4 years, every 2 years, I'm always going to be unhappy with the way
every
things
4 years, you're going to get mouthy, and then you're going to calm down after each election. Oh. Lou, I want to know, because my sort of libertarian awakening, I very much identify, as listeners of this podcast already know, I identified with being a super liberal, super Democrat my whole life, all throughout college, post-college, classic 20s white girl upbringing, you know. And then it was about 2018, I met Larry Sharpe, who was the gubernatorial, I love saying that word, goober, because it always sounds like jizz is involved, but not in his case. Candidate. He ran for governor of New York, and I met him because actually my boyfriend's brother was kind of working on his campaign, and I met him in person, and I was like, I just got to talking to him, and then he was like, you might be a libertarian, you know? And then he had me take a couple tests, and I was like, oh, damn. It really kind of like blew my mind, because I identified so heavily with, you know, like your team. And then eventually, you know, over the last like 2 years became more and more red pilled, until like the last year's been like a lot of pills. So I'm all caught up just about. How did you have a similar journey where you just came out of the college age, sort of like in a liberal
I met Larry Sharpe, and he gave me a lot of tests, which was weird because I just met him and he just kept testing me.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I met Larry. I met Larry when I was already you know, pretty deep into it. I think if I had to track everything back, it was probably around graduate school. So it was probably around 24, 25 years old. And I think
how old are you now?
39. I just turned 39 on February 26th.
Girl, you don't look it.
Thank you. It's the lighting. I have a cute little glam lighting thing happening right now. Yeah. But during so I was in grad school, and around that time I was consuming a lot of, I guess there would be like the new atheists, and was a part of like the skeptics movement in a way. So it was Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, Daniel Dennett, those guys. And in that was a big member of it, I guess, was Penn Jillette. And I was a big fan of the show, their show Bullshit on Showtime. And I was also growing up like a fan of Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher. And through with all these different groups, whether it's the, you know, the skeptics or, you know, Penn Jillette, it was calling out all the bogus stuff that was going on, calling out, you know, in a word, the bullshit. And I started seeing, you know, I guess just a lot of things when it came to government, or the way things were, you know, supposedly supposed to be portrayed, that I was like, oh, that doesn't sound right. And I just allowed myself, I guess, to be a little bit more skeptical, if you will. And then I sort of went that route, and met a really great friend in graduate school who was all the way anarchist. And I was like, she's really interesting. Let's talk more. And, you know, from there it's been.
Did you guys bang?
No. You know, she was married. I was with a girl I shouldn't have been with. You know, we missed it. What do you mean a girl you shouldn't have been with? Oh, it was during a bad relationship.
You're like, she had a dick. No.
She lied to me.
Yeah.
The whole time.
It was a bad time. I have been with so many guys I shouldn't have been with. You're just like, well, he's a bot. He's got a pulse. That's good enough for me.
Well, it's always like when it's, like how long do we stay with that person we really shouldn't be with, and you look back and you're like, damn, I just spent
it's hard to know
5 years. Yeah.
It's hard to know. Like for me in relationships, like 2 years is like kind of nothing. Like I can, 2 years is kind of like my default setting with somebody. So, which is not no time. That's like a decent amount. But I think I was always the person that like, I would always be the dumpee instead of the dumper. There was a couple of guys that I kind of broke it off with, but we were like in early stages of dating, like first month or two. But it was like so obvious. So,
do you like being the dumpy? It's a weird question to ask, but I think there are a lot of people who would
you can kind of like
dumped, than
you can kind of be like, I guess I was, a little bit more like, I'm the victim. I got dumped. You have, better stories, I guess. People take pity on you, but at the end of the day, it's like your time is valuable. So
there are a lot of guys who they do the really fucked up thing of like stringing women along for a while, and it's because they don't want to do the hard work of saying like, look, this isn't working, and that's something that I didn't realize until like sort of in my early 30s, where especially when I met the woman who would eventually be my wife, where it's like, no, if I'm wasting her time, I'm doing something fucked up. Like I shouldn't be wasting her time. I shouldn't be wasting my own time. It's like, at some point you need to, have that realization.
How did you know she was the one? And is she a libertarian?
She, I was the first libertarian she's ever met.
Oh my God.
Which
and the last.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't leave your room.
And I'm doubtful that she slept with another libertarian before, because as far as we know, very few of them are actually good talking to women. So they would, if she met libertarians before, they would definitely talk her panties back on.
Talk an extra pair of panties on.
An extra one, yeah.
How do I have 2 pairs of underpants on?
Yeah. No, but I was the first libertarian that she ever met. And how did I know she was the one? I think there was a time when I just started where she like made me want to have kids. And not make me like, stick.
Give me your dick.
Give me your sperms. Put them in me.
Give me your seed.
But it was something where, we would talk about our future, and we would talk about what we wanted. And then after a while, I started talking about, wanting to have kids. And when I went to go buy her the ring to ask her to marry me, I had music playing on, I guess, like shuffle, like I don't know, it was like my iPod maybe or something, and a live version of Bruce Springsteen's "She's the One" came on. So I was going solo to go buy this ring.
Wow!
And "She's the One" came on. It was like,
that's a sign.
It's a sign, although, but again, like the skeptic in me is like, well, you only had about 200 songs on that shuffle, so it was, it was bound to happen. Who knows what the other song would be.
Yeah, it could have been like Megadeth.
Oh yeah. Sympathy for Destruction.
Yeah. So how did you have to kind of like red pill her a little bit?
No, I think we get along very well because we never allowed politics to really get in the way of our relationship. Even if there were things that we disagreed about, that was never going to, take over the relationship. And I feel like, I've heard like these terrible stories, especially during the last, 4 years during the Trump administration, where you would hear people saying, oh, I haven't had sex with my partner in years. I don't want to be with my partner. I don't want to be with the father of my children. And you're like, what's wrong with you people?
Over Trump, meaning?
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, like My parents were not doing it, but they were, that was like other reasons. That was just like decades of resentment. I don't think it had anything to do with Trump. Yeah, and the media encouraged it. I would read articles in like Marie Claire or Cosmo that would be like why you should break up with your Trump supporting boyfriend.
Right.
It was like these kind of behaviors were like totally encouraged and glamorized, like, oh, just write off your dad, like just don't talk to your uncle that loves Trump, like I don't know, just isolate yourself.
Yeah, and social media definitely played into that, where you would see these people getting applauded online for telling off their 80-year-old grandmother, or it's like I had an opportunity a few years back to tell off my aunt with dementia, and tell her what I really thought about her. I held back though. I could have done that.
Wait till the dementia really kicks in so you can tell her off and she won't remember.
Right. But that's that's the thing. Unfortunately, she wasn't big on Instagram or Twitter. So
most
wouldn't
old
really
people aren't. Yeah.
Well, what was it? There was that one person recently. It was before the election her father was dying, and she did like this sketch where she had like these notepad, like these index cards, and she had like basically the story written on it, and she would raise them one by one. And she said that she and her sisters basically guilted him into voting for Biden Harris before he died. And people were applauding this. I ended up doing a parody of it. But
like my dad, he always loved expensive gas, and we just had to convince him.
Oh my God.
He loved illegal immigration.
He was all about it. Well, I have being a Latino, I know quite a few people who are really into it. Some of them are related to me. I always put my dad's an immigrant, and I always say he's a good immigrant, but my cousins are bad immigrants. So if you have to make
a bad immigrant, they do a bad job on the roof.
They're just dicks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We didn't need more of them.
When did this start? Because I'm new to the libertarian world, but it seemed to me at some point the libertarians got kind of grouped in or confused as part of the alt-right, which I don't understand, because and I don't know if this, like, do you think that this just comes from the left? Anybody who's not like me is alt-right, or I don't know, or do you think it's something else?
Well, I think early on, alt-right seemed to be a catch-all for, I guess, people that were, red-pilled, people that were, pushing back against, I guess, the left, and then something happened where it started, members of that actual group actually started like showing, I guess, their true colors, where you did have people who were, white supremacists or white separatists, and it's like, ooh, hold on a second, that's
so those
that's
few
not who we are.
People gave the whole group a bad name.
I think so. Or I mean, I don't know if the origins of the alt-right were specifically a racial thing, because when I hear alt-right, I automatically think like, no, I don't want a white ethno state. That's not the world I want to live in. I don't agree with.
I don't know anybody who feels that way, and I've talked to so many people and a lot of unstable weirdos, and I still haven't met anybody who truly believes that.
Well, it's definitely one of those things too, where as a label, and you see that label thrown around so much, and when it's put on somebody that is definitely not that, obviously you become a lot more skeptical of like, well, where's this coming from? The same way, you hear about fascist comedians. What like there are fascist comedians in New York? What's going on?
Who are the fascist comedians?
Well, I remember when we did that show for Larry Sharp, I remember being on the all of our headshots were like on the on the flyer for it, and somebody, I forget who it was, had shared it and said, oh, great, a bunch of fascists getting together.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
That was like so long ago, because that's back in 2018. People were starting to I feel like I've been canceled so many times now and called so many things. Yeah, I remember there was like they were starting to give us shit because they're like, oh, it's libertarian. And I think like most people don't even know what that is.
Yeah. And there
people
were
were
people,
shitting on Facebook.
yeah, and I was just like, well, I know that I'm not a fascist. I don't want the government in control of business and
Like
creating
the
cartels. What are
opposite.
you talking about?
Yeah.
I believe in free speech. I don't believe that people should be hit because they, said something that I disagree with. What's going on here? It's so odd, and it's so lazy.
It's so lazy. It's just like, oh, anybody I don't like is a Nazi. Anybody I don't like is a white supremacist. Anybody I don't like is an insurrectionist.
Mm-hmm.
It's like buzzwords galore.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into comedy?
I started doing improv in college. I went to NYU.
Me too.
Did you
The
do that?
improv in college thing, but not NYU because my parents didn't have money. But yeah.
I had a little bit of an academic scholarship to go to.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, to go and eventually study improv comedy. But I was a part of a improv group, and then from improv I started doing sketch comedy. Then sketch comedy, my group, we started performing at the UCB Theater. And
me too.
Yeah.
What was your sketch? What year were you at the UCB?
Oh, we were there probably 03, 04.
What? Okay.
Yeah, we were. The
man,
group was the
missed
Hammer
me.
Cats. The wicked.
I remember the Hammer Cats.
Yeah, so I was one of those members, and then Greg and Lou was our sketch duo.
Wow, because I started at the UCB in 06.
Mm-hmm.
Spent all my money, did all the classes, then went on to Magnet Theater, did all the classes, teams galore, did one-woman show, then did stand-up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because I always wanted to do stand-up, but for some reason I was always just petrified to get up and do it alone. And what surprised me is when I started doing stand-up, especially when I started, you keep going to more and more open mics, the atmosphere and the attitude of the performers was just the complete opposite of what you'd find in improv and sketch.
So different. Improv and sketch is like all theater kids. It's a lot of like musical theater kids. It's a completely different like energy and vibe. And like stand up is just like a selection of like weathered adults, like people with jobs, people like it's no longer just like fun and games. It's a craft, or people are just like improv, there's people who do it like just for attention or to meet girls or whatever. But like stand up to me always felt like, oh, these are like everyone's kind of weathered by life, it's more of like an independent like solo sport.
Yeah, and it was weird being in that environment because my goal was always I want to perform for, quote unquote real people. And if I'm going to practice to perform for real people, well, I want to give performance energy. I want people to think that I want to be here, so I think when I eventually moved out to LA for a little bit, I ended up
LA. Rest in peace.
well, I was there before all this shit happened. Mm-hmm. But so when I started hosting shows or even hosting open mics, I brought a little bit of the corny improv sketch comedy energy to it because I wanted people to be like, no, let's treat it like it's a show. Like
showmanship. Yeah. That's good. And that's something a lot of stand-ups lack. And it's something you definitely need to host. You need to have that, like, bring a crowd up. You have to bring your energy up so that you can bring them up so they can be ready to have a good time. Yeah. Like the host has to like overcompensate for any like lazy, loafy energy in the crowd. So it's like, if you're really up here, it's like you raise everybody like, 5 degrees.
Yeah. Oh, do you have like a when you host, do you have a go-to line like, hey, just so you look, everybody, whatever energy you're giving, we're gonna give it back. But
I've heard some real sassy lines by hosts over the years, like, look, you better drop your shit and have a good time. It's like, you better leave your shit at the door. I've picked up on a lot of tips over the years from really good other hosts like James Mattern and Aaron Berg. I think I've learned perhaps the most from. I think it's always easy to go into definitely crowd work and how long someone's been married for, and just finding ways to loop back into your material. That's what makes hosting the most fun for me. And just sometimes I'll just look at people, I'll try to figure out if they're still having sex, or I'll make fun of something easy on somebody's outfit. It's always so easy to call the guy in a pink shirt gay. Even though that's a dumb joke, it's not even a joke. It's it always gets a laugh, without fail. So there's just certain things you learn over the years that are okay, these are easy laughs. And of course, it's always good, if something doesn't hit, to call out that it doesn't hit. And then that usually gets a laugh, just trying to keep it as real as you can. Yeah, it's always fun to ask people's jobs and
it's with calling out stuff that doesn't work. It's important to do it in such a way where you don't end up just killing the rest of your set where it's why am I here? This is such a terrible thing. I haven't performed live in a year.
Oh my God, Lou! What are you waiting for?
I know. And in April, I've been booked to basically headline, 2 shows, and I'm like,
you're gonna be rusty as fuck on that
dude,
first one.
I gotta get out there, man.
Where are you headlining?
The one place is gonna be Rollinsford, New Hampshire.
Okay.
So it's
just try to do. Are you in New York or New Jersey right now?
I'm in New York.
Oh, you're in New York. Okay. Yeah, just try to get up on a couple spots sometime before that. When is that? When are you headlining?
That's going to be April 30th. And then
you've got time.
Yeah. Then there's another show April 1st that I was just asked about. I haven't signed on the dotted line yet, but I'm excited for it. There's just something there that I really, I'm not going to say I've totally missed it, because so much has been happening in my own life. Since not performing.
What?
I got a kid. I got a baby. He's about to be 1.
Oh my God! You had a choir baby.
Yeah. Well, and so he's going to be 1 on March 26th, and then we found out that my wife's pregnant again. So.
Oh my God! Look at you, Lou. She was give me your seed.
Yeah. It took it.
And you're here, have it. She was not on my face, Lou.
Lou, that's not how it works. Yeah. So, that's great. Now I'm just thinking,
Irish twins, kind of, right? Is that what it's
I
called?
think it's gonna be 16 months difference, 17 months.
That's so cute. Tell me about this first baby.
Let's see. So we had him at the height of the COVID nuts, madness.
Yeah.
A week before he was born, we were concerned that I wasn't going to be able to be in the delivery room. And I'd been with my wife at every single, checkup and all that, every bit of the way.
Except for conception. Hey.
I need to thank that dude.
I don't know who he is.
Yo, that dude made a cute baby.
guy never came back. He stopped coming around.
So I was, worried I wasn't going to be allowed in the room, because there were a bunch of hospitals that weren't allowing partners to be there. And we actually know a person who she gave birth. She had to give birth. She had an emergency C-section, and her husband wasn't allowed to be there. He wasn't even allowed to be there for the recovery. So you just imagine just how traumatic that was. But fortunately for us, our hospital allowed me to be there. So that was wild. I've never been, I've never helped in the room deliver a baby.
Did you have to hold the leg or hold the labia? What did you do?
That right leg, I held the right leg. I cut the. We'd have to hold the labia.
Let's just hold the labia open. One flap.
I gotta say,
doctor gets the flap. Yeah.
It was wild. The nurses that were there were fantastic, and throughout the process, they keep putting lube on the on the vag, and then going in and stretching my wife's vagina.
No, was this a man doing this?
No, it was a lady.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
You can request it though if you want a man.
Can you imagine if some other dude is just in there fisting your wife, basically, and you just have to like sit there like a cuck and take it?
Well, we had
God, does this happen with everybody? Or you're like, she was just so tight.
I don't know, but it was one of those. It was really weird because obviously I know that she's giving birth, but there was something oddly very sexy about it too. So here I am like holding
2 chicks. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow. Did you get the nurse's number or name or anything? A picture with her?
we
Something?
didn't even see her face. She was covered.
That's a kink.
Anyone. She could be anyone.
I hope she's watching this.
Yeah. There was also one nurse who had a black eye, and we did not feel comfortable enough asking her how did that happen?
She was like, I just came from a breech birth. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
Or I tried to fist this guy's wife, and he just wouldn't have it.
Yeah, I stretched the wrong hole out, and woo. Oh boy. Wow. Interesting. I didn't know. See, I have a girlfriend who is a little older. She's like 50. All right. So she's a bit older. She goes to this. She was telling me like this was a couple summers ago, but I still can't get over it. I can't stop thinking about it. She sees a male gynecologist, which first of all, blech, would never do, would never recommend. But she told me that this guy would say to her that like she was too tight and he would like literally do what you're describing and like try to like open her up. And I'm like, this doesn't sound good. I'm telling her, I'm like, this isn't, I would find a new doctor. And she's like, oh, well, I feel bad. My mom goes to him. I go to him. And I was like, this sounds fucking gross, man. Like,
what happened to the mom? Is the mom tight too?
I don't know.
She's like, you got your father's vagina.
I'm so disgusted. I was like, this dude should be reported. Like, that's so nasty. And he was saying to her, like, oh, you don't have sex or not enough or any sex or whatever. And you're too tight because you don't have sex. And I was like, ugh, it's kind of none of his business.
Wow.
I mean, like, you are checking on the health of the thing, like not what's going in it. I can't get over it. It's so gross.
We had a situation before my son was born where my wife ended up in the emergency room. And the doctor that took care of her looked like Ryan Gosling.
Oh God! Did you have to pay extra for that?
Yeah. So he's a doctor and he's an extremely attractive man. And they had like this system, I guess, where because he was a male, he couldn't be in there just by himself. So they had to have female, faculty or nurses in the room. But it was one of those things where my wife and I both looked at each other and were like, what? Fuck.
Like he can stay in here alone. It's fine. What do I have to sign?
Yeah.
So you held a leg. Oh my God! Really? What hospital did he work at?
Was it NYU Langone? I think.
Ooh, okay.
He knows who he is. He knows who he is. He's out there.
So you held open a leg.
Yeah.
And you saw the whole thing happen. You saw the whole thing come out.
Why? Like.
Was it traumatizing?
No, I don't know what I was preparing. I don't know what I was preparing myself to feel.
Did they make you watch Miracle of Life in 7th grade like they did me? And then all the kids would the teacher would say, you can put your heads down if you're uncomfortable. I turn around and everybody's head down.
I mean, it's messy. It's messy. I mean, the one thing I was prepared for is my mother told me that when I was born, she shit like 3 times. And so I was prepared for that. And then when you go to we don't go to like Lamaze train or anything like that, but we did a visit of the hospital. We had nurses talking to us, and basically they said like, look, you got to push like you're trying to push like you're trying to shit. Like that's
I'm chronically constipated.
That's
so
what
that
you're
would
supposed to be doing. Yeah. So my wife, during it, I don't know how many. I forget how many it was exactly, but
like diarrhea was like a different kind of
no,
poop?
it wasn't. No, it was pretty standard. It was pretty standard. It looked kind of like the stuff you would get in like a one of those prank stores.
Here's the coil, like the classic
the
coil.
dog turd and stuff. But it happens like when it's time to go. It's time to go. We got there and we were trying to, go to sleep, and it was like 11 something, and it was like, nope, it's time. Everybody starts coming in, changing the sheets and doing all this stuff. And so he was born at like, I think 1:06 in the morning or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
On March 26th?
March 26th, yeah.
So he's a Pisces?
I think he's an
Aries?
Is it Aquarius?
No. Right. Pisces. March goes into Aries.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because my brother's the 24th, and he's an Aries. So, yeah, he's probably an Aries.
Yeah, he's probably.
Okay. I mean, strong leadership qualities. Okay.
He's adorable. Like, he really is a very, very good looking kid. And I'm not just saying, you have like a lot of parents like, oh, my kid's so beautiful. No, like we get stopped on the street. Like the equivalent of,
like, he could model.
Yeah, the equivalent of like cat calls. We get that for babies. Like,
just keep him away from Chrissie Teigen. Sheesh. Yeah.
Oh my God. Any news on that? Any new stuff happening?
No, not really. I've kind of I just I don't know. I haven't had any real spicy takes lately. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm still blocked on Twitter, but I follow her on Instagram.
As you should be.
Yeah.
If she knows what's smart for her.
How did you get over watching your wife shit 3 times?
How did I get over watching my wife shit 3 times? What was it 3 times? But that was my mother. I got over that.
You were like looking, like staring into the eye of the storm, watching it happen, or just you looked down and it was there?
Dude, no, it was there. Everything was happening right in front of me. I think it's such a wild experience that you just get over it. It's similar with before I had my son. If I see a baby who has like spittle and it's all sticky weird shit, I'm like, get that fucking monster away. with him, I don't care if he's covered in whatever. I change diapers. I do all that stuff.
Good for you.
Yeah.
My dad didn't do any of that stuff.
Neither did my dad.
It must be a boomer thing. They were very, very much like women's work, man's work.
Yeah, like really divided. It's it's not that big of a deal to do it, like my dad tells this one story about my mother left the apartment for, I guess, a few hours. So he and my older brother were watching me
to get milk. Did she leave to get milk and didn't come back?
She left, and while she was gone, I had just a terrible, terrible shit, and they didn't change my diaper. They waited for her to come back.
Oh my God!
It's like, come on, man.
How long did they wait? Hours?
I don't know. Months. Nah, who knows?
That's annoying.
That's not going to be that's not happening in my household. So.
You gotta just like approach that shit head on.
Right on. Yeah.
Right on. So you're getting back into stand-up. Have you been doing much sketch comedy? Because that's I think that's how I met you. Well, it was the Larry Sharp thing. And then we did another specifically libertarian gig in Beacon, New York, in this old library. I like, a lot of stand-ups hate these random ass shows, but I love them. Like, I love just performing for like a random group of people in a random place. And it's like just these very, you're with the townies, like that to me is way more fun than a nice club is fun too. It's like glamorous, but like a crusty old library or like a crusty old men's club. Like, I love doing stand up in those places.
Because I think there's something to the question of how did we all get here?
Mm-hmm.
Like at a comedy club, it makes sense. You're a comedian. They,
want to see comedy. Yeah.
They want to see comedy. They have the 2-drink minimum or whatever that is. But like, how did we all end up at this library?
In
Beacon. Yeah. And I don't think we'll ever really find out.
We'll never know. And I knew one audience member, big Compound Media fan, Richard Kish. He's got like a big, long, like Santa-esque beard. He's like a super fan. So it was like, he was my focal point. Like, he was just like a supportive audience member, just sort of maintaining eye contact. Like, and it was good. Like, it wasn't a packed show, but I was like, oh, if it's that kind of show where you're like, if I walk even 2 people, we're gonna feel it. So yeah, that was good. That was fun. I don't know. It's just like I like the idea of like libertarian comedy. Like, what is it? What is libertarian comedy?
Yeah. And Gino was on that show. I think Gino headlined.
Yeah.
And I think before
drunk.
I think I was supposed to. I think I was hosting, and before I got up, before the person who threw the event brought me up, he talked about. He said, "Oh, and just so you know, there's a blood drive at
oh my god, yeah, that's what I love about these local shows. Right? It's like the person hosting it is like, or pre-hosting it, or just bringing people up, has just no clue of like what to do, and they completely bring the energy down to a screeching halt, and they're like, by the way, we're raising money for somebody who was killed, or something like that, like the blood drive." Right.
Yeah, and then I asked who's booking the blood drive. If I need some more time, with the energy, being brought down. I've done so many shows. There were sort of mixed shows where there would be stand-ups and there would be storytellers and that sort of thing. And for a lot of those shows, you never know really what you're going to get with the storytelling side. So there's so many shows that I did where I had to follow somebody who had like a really graphic story about being sexually assaulted. And how the fuck do you follow someone who just talked about being sexually assaulted, and your material is like, wow, dating is hard. It's like, right. Man, this is just a.
I would, you just got to go into your sexual assault material as best you can.
I can only.
How do you not address that?
I can only be a perpetrator, though. Like, no one's going to believe that I was a victim.
Right. Aaron Berg has the best joke about that. Like, I'm a rape survivor. 8 charges, no, like he wasn't found, no convictions or something, whatever. Obviously, I've just killed the joke, but yes. So, and then you got into, when did you get into sketch comedy? Well, you were into it with the UCB, and then you kept doing it once you left the UCB, which I don't see that happening too often.
Well, it was around the time that YouTube started. So, my duo, Greg and Lou, we started doing, sketch videos, and it was a pretty natural shift for us, because during our live shows, we would do a mixture of live sketch and then pre-filmed bits. Once that started, like YouTube just opened up just a whole other world. And I think a lot of people forget just how wild YouTube was back when it started, where you didn't have to worry about.
I totally missed out. I was not on it at all. I think I was like afraid of joining it, and I wish I had, because it seemed like anything went.
I mean, there was a time where you would, in the search feature, you would put in comedy, and like our videos would pop up, because there weren't that many. It wasn't it was completely saturated with with all this material.
Wow. Yeah, there were like only 20 comedy videos at a time. Yeah, I remember, because I went to college with this guy, Mike Falzone, who started like basically like YouTube, doing comedy on YouTube, and then he exploded, got so many fans.
He did like an Italian bro character, right? Was that what he did?
I don't know. I don't know what he did. I think he did like a lot of advice kind of too. He was like more of a YouTube personality. But yeah, I had like a big YouTube phobia. Like I had such a fear of like, oh, just videos of me like just talking. That's not good enough. So I made it. It only took me, a couple of years, but here I am on YouTube. It's interesting. I always ask people who are with someone who's not a comedian, like what they think of. Well, I guess the last year was kind of normal, but before that, like the sort of comedy lifestyle.
My wife was she was a dancer, so like a trained
stripper. Yes.
She was a trained modern dancer. She went to the University of the Arts in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. So as a performer, she gets it. what performance is all about.
Yeah,
But
showbiz.
When we met, I mean, it wasn't like I was working in finance and then wanted to dabble in comedy and then just started doing more and more comedy. When we met, I'd already established myself as, well, this is what I've been doing for 10 years, and this is what I'm gonna continue to do. So I think that's really important. There are a lot of, I couldn't imagine being with her where a few years down the road, she was like, I really think you should stop this comedy thing and do something else. It just wouldn't.
I've seen that happen to so many comics. Like, really? I've seen them. Yeah. They were like post open mic, like really starting to get some momentum. And then they would date somebody new and you just see them taper off and stop coming around.
Well, the girl that I was dating before I met my wife, that was a really big,
the wrong one, right?
The wrong one. Yeah. A really big issue where we both lived in New York, and I was going out to LA I had management. I had a lit agent, and me and my partner were like pitching shows. And she was so just anxious about the possibility that if I sell something, I'm going to want to move to LA. Right. So I'm going out there already doing something where the odds are stacked against you, right? Of, selling something. And I'm like, oh, if we sell something, I'm going to have this conversation with my girlfriend.
So she let her fear of abandonment sort of.
Yeah. I think she had I mean, she used to, she was worried that if I were to do a scene that there was kissing involved, that I would fall in love or leave her for the actress that I'm kissing. Like,
wow. It was like, that's bad. All it takes.
Yeah. And it's like, what?
Okay. So yeah, insecure about that particular thing. And clearly he's never had a three-way. So
she may have.
Good riddance.
She may have with me.
Oh, really?
Not with me. Never had a three-way.
Okay. That's wild, because if you did sell a show, that means money, and even if you did have to move to LA, you then would have money to visit. And I don't know, but I get that. I think people who don't have kind of like big dreams are not compatible and can sometimes hold back those of us who do have big dreams.
Mm-hmm. And I was obviously younger at the time and not I don't know if I probably didn't. I probably lacked a lot of the confidence that I have now, just being older and having gone through
and having a beard.
Exactly. I didn't have a beard at the time. That's right. I was either, holy shit, like the power.
My God, you were young and beardless.
I think every now and then I would have a goatee, which I look back at pictures of that. I was like,
see,
that was like Dante from fucking Clerks. And it's like, I didn't have the confidence there. And
wow, so this beard really changed your life.
Yeah. And what's funny too, I recently, as I've been preparing for, to get back up on stage, I was watching old sets that I did, and there was one set in particular that I performed at. It was like my first time doing like a 15-minute set, and I had just found out that day that I was going to be working on Impractical Jokers. So it was like, wow. So it was like all coming together. It was like, whoa, I have like a legit, job as a comedy producer. That I guess that was the title on this show. And then awesome. I'm about to perform, in front of a packed room and do 15 minutes. But then watching that footage, it reminded me of where I was at the time in that relationship.
Beardless.
A little beardless. Could have used more beard. I could have used more beard at the time. So that's my advice to all men out there. Grow a beard.
Just grow a beard as fast as you can, and life will come together. Did you work pretty closely with the guys on Impractical Jokers, or were you more like backgroundy?
Well, I thought when I booked the gig, I thought it was going to be like a traditional writer's room where like the four guys would be there, and the other writers. It was really, I think Joe was like sort of the main guy in the office all the time. but those dudes, I mean, I remember when I got the job and they sent me raw footage of a few of the pranks that they did. So just imagine like 2 hours of them raw footage in a supermarket. And I was crying laughing so hard. And I was like, why do you even need a show? Just put this up. It's so funny. I mean, if anything, like those guys did me a big favor of just, allowing me to be a part of that. They don't need writers. I mean, they're hilarious. So.
God, they're so funny. Yeah. Like I'll sometimes like default and like, yeah, like I feel like just the family kind of defaults to just watching old Impractical Joker episodes. They could be like years and years old. Yeah. It's so funny because you've met Frank, my boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
His mom was in an episode.
Mr. Pellegrino. Check it out.
Hey, yes, seltzer water tycoon. So his mom was in an episode. Do you remember the episode where they were pitching something to the planning board? I guess it was in Westchester or somewhere. Like an old folks home, and it was Sal. It was mostly Sal pitching it, and they had like a trampoline of like, oh, and this is an old person trampoline, and it'd be like a guy on a wheelchair on the trampoline, and they'd be like, oh, over by the old mill, like the old something mill, the beef gristle mill.
The beef gristle mill.
It's like, oh, by the beef gristle mill or something. And all these adults, like nobody knows. And then so Frank's mom is like legit on the board. And like they, I guess it wasn't planned. Like they came in and actually pitched this like old person center. Oh, it was so fucking funny.
I was trying to think of the three things that I've laughed the hardest in my whole life. Jackass, Borat, and Impractical Jokers. So those are the three things where I have laughed so hard, and that I can remember like consistently, like throughout like the entire movie or entire show. And doing comedy, I was just like, am I ever going to be able to make something up, to write something that is able to capture how funny that is? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
do you sometimes see things that are really great and really funny and you go like, how am I ever gonna beat this or be as good? Do you ever feel like, I guess, competitive or like moments of feeling like insecure?
Yeah, definitely, moments of feeling insecure. Obviously when you see, great comedians performing, you obviously get that in your mind. I always, so I always remind myself, well, thankfully, I don't have to be as funny as Richard Pryor to do comedy. There's room for me to do what I do and to make people laugh. Thank God. And then also when I see peers of mine, or peers of ours, like doing really well or blowing up, it could be very easy to get real jealous and to do that. But then I remind myself, no, they earned it. And just because they're where they are doesn't mean that I can't be there too. It's not like there's only this small pie that we're all taking from.
Yeah, when I was like younger or like newer in comedy, I was a lot more competitive because you just get, I don't know. Yeah, my world has expanded so much as I've gotten older. Like you're not just limited to this one small like New York City comedy scene or community or whatever. Right. And it's like, oh, the people that you're going to get opportunities from come from all over. I think if you just keep expanding and keep just like doing everything you can to like expose yourself to like other circles, other, like parts of the internet or whatever. And like, right. Just perform everywhere you can.
Well, I mean, look at the list of places that you're going to be performing. I mean, it's all over the place,
All over. Yeah. I'm excited to go to like I've never been to Nashville. I've never been to, well, I think I may be in a stopover, but I've never been to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. My dad's in Florida. I guess I have to go see him.
I was going to say, you're going to go.
I don't know. Maybe I won't even tell him.
Because he's got to watch this show, right?
No, God, no. And it's the best thing. No, he doesn't care about what I do. I think just cares if I'm like financially stable. I think I think most typical like boomer parents, it's like, oh, do you have health insurance? All right. And it's like, but I also pride myself on not needing anything from him at all. So yeah, I don't know. We don't have the easiest relationship. So it's like he didn't really invest time in like getting to know me. I think as a kid growing up, that was like in his idea, like my mom's job. But then when she died, it's like, I think my dad had this moment of like, oh, well, I didn't spend any time building a relationship with any of my kids. Like he kind of just like didn't know what to do because my mom would be the one to like call us all the time. And then she would kind of pass the phone to dad. And he would just sort of like check the boxes. Oh, hey, what's up? Like kind of phone it in literally. And then like that was it. Like mom was the main reacher outer. So she was the glue. So now there's just kind of no glue and we're all sort of just like separate, all in different states. Like she would be the one that like, let's get together for the thing. And now it's like, it's kind of sad. Like no one's really motivated to like really get together. There was like the first holidays after she died. That was sort of like a collective effort, but I'm like, so it's
how
like
long ago did she pass away?
August 2nd, 2018.
Oh, okay. That's fairly,
And they actually considered it a COVID death now.
She was the first. She was patient zero.
She was patient zero, yeah.
Well, you know, I definitely see, you know, I think my mother is similar in that she's sort of the glue with, you know, all of I have, you know, four brothers. So it's like a, you know, pretty big family. And so she's kind of the glue there. But, you know, sort of what I've found is I'm not that big of a fan of the holidays. And
it is pressure. It's definitely like obligation heavy.
Well, for me, it's hold on a second. You know, the other 360 days of the year, you guys aren't making any effort to see me.
I know, God.
But now because Christmas is here, now I got to see you, and I'm just of the mind where look, you could take or leave the holidays. For me, what's important are the ongoing relationships throughout the year. That's what's really important to me. It's like, don't just us just showing up because it's Thanksgiving or Easter or any of the other, you know, high holidays.
I know. Like, yeah, I think I harbor a smidge of resentment as well in that because like my whole family could not get out of New York fast enough. Just everyone's in different states and I just kind of stayed behind because like this is where comedy is and this is where my boyfriend is and like it was just so weird because I just remember like when I was younger my mom had this like fantasy of like all the kids like living in Rockville Center and all like visiting all the time, like this one other family she would keep mentioning. And then everyone just like got the fuck out. And it's exactly that. Like nobody makes any effort. No one has made any effort to come back to visit me in New York. But it's like when the holidays happen, it's like, oh yeah, like I have to, the obligation is always on me to like, and even during the year, it's like, oh, when are you going to come visit? And it's like, man, last time I checked, like planes were not free. I'm doing financially the worst of anybody, so it's like, double.
There's a line that we hear from family members that we don't like to hear, and it's, oh, we never see you.
Oh God.
Like, oh, you never see us. My wife and I are living in a one bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, and you guys live. You know, you can drive over. You can invite us out.
Right.
You know?
It's like, do you guys even have cars?
Yeah, we have a car, and actually, today is alternate side parking, and my wife forgot to move the car at 4:30 to the other side, so I'm gonna have to go over, grab the car, see if I can find a spot. If I can't find a spot, I'm gonna have to fucking burn the car. That's it. We're done.
Just light it on fire. Just push it into the East River. Yeah.
Well, that's something we're definitely looking forward to. We're moving. We're going to be moving to the burbs, and really looking forward to
Jersey or
Jersey. Yeah. So looking forward.
Jersey's hot right now. Everyone's going to Jersey. I think because the taxes are better.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to have a house. I mean, so much has changed over this past year. I've learned so
wild.
much about myself and my relationships and what's most important. And for me, look, I'm 39. It's not like I'm in my early 20s. What's important to me is not the same as what would have been important to me when I just got out of school. And the way that the city has gone down in just so many different ways, like I'm not sticking around for 5 years for this shit to get back to where it is.
Wait for it to perk back up, and and like scrimp and struggle and have no space for 5 more years in the hopes that things will come back. Yeah.
And we've discovered when we lived in LA, we had a car. When we came back, we got rid of our cars. And then before my son was born, we got a car. And oh my God, the freedom that car gave us during this fucking the lockdowns and all of that. At no point did we have to ask for permission to leave, which is basically what you're doing when you have public transportation that shut down or dangerous.
You don't want to wear a mask I don't wear a mask on public transportation, but like there's a lot of pressure to like
see, it would be easier if you to go if you were wearing a mask because
right. Oh my God, there's definitely podcasts going on with people wearing masks. That just occurred to me. Yikes.
Yeah. But I think I'm really looking forward to the life that I have with my wife and my baby and the one on the way, and also the prospects too. I mean, fuck, I'd love to perform in Jersey. Why not?
There's tons of clubs and new spots opening up all the time, and there's especially one I really love that in Morris Plains, New Jersey, Tiff's. Like that guy loves comedy. Big free speech guy. He's just a cool guy, Mike Romanelli. Like definitely check that out when you go over to Jersey. And and I just remember like a time like I was very like house phobic for so long. Like the idea of like owning a house and like being settled down and having roots was like so scary to me because it's just like, oh, you're not like this freedom is cut off from you. Right. But I think it's in your head.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally in your head. And it's also, what makes people interesting or what makes people, be the types that you want to be around. It's, it's not necessarily, oh, you live in a box in the village. Great.
And that used to be just like everything. Like I feel bad for the people who like maybe bought an apartment in the city and it's like you kind of have to like I can't imagine you selling that now for a profit. So it's like you got to kind of like stick it out, I guess.
I totally know what the deal is. There was a time where I remember hearing a story where there was a girl who said, I would never date somebody with a 718 area code.
Oh my God.
There was a time.
Queens, yeah.
Yeah. There was a time when that was, someone could say that, but oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a long distance if I'm in Manhattan and they're in Brooklyn.
Right.
But look, we're adults now. No, it's all good. It's nice. It's like, I want like a little garden, I want to like make my own canned food for when the shit hits the fan now.
You want to have your candle room where you just make your candles.
Candle room. Yeah. Let's say canned food, but I like a candle room too. That's like the height of like.
Well, I love the idea that when you get a house, you have to be a prepper and/or an Etsy salesperson.
Oh yeah,
you gotta open an Etsy.
You know what? There will be none of in this house that I eventually get to. There will be nothing that says "live, love, laugh." I can guarantee that. If you live with someone that says that has bought a pillow or a sign that says "live, love, laugh," that person is in deep denial, deep depression. They're gonna kill you. I don't know. I just think the most unstable people buy that shit.
We got to get you a mask that says "live, love, laugh." I think that would be the perfect symbol for what you're fighting against.
It's like if you have to say it with pillows, yeah.
Oh yeah, the pillows are real. My mother has too many pillows. It's like more pillow than bed. Sometimes you go over there.
Oh yeah, that's a female thing. Too many pillows. But Lou, I'm so excited that you're getting back up on stage. Do you have a new sketch comedy venture?
Yeah. You guys could check out youtube.com/C/The Lou Perez. Just look up The Lou Perez on all social media, and I'm releasing new sketches, a couple every month I'm trying to do. And we have one coming out this Friday that is it's a couple of months in the making, because there's a lot of effects that go into it. So if you guys are interested in the new King Kong versus Godzilla movie coming out,
yes,
there's a parody that I made that's going to be coming out on Friday, and I really hope you enjoy it. You're going to live, you're going to love, and you're going to laugh.
Oh God,
for sure.
Ugh, no thank you. Lou, this was awesome. It was so good to talk to you, buddy, and catch up. I can't wait to see you like in 3D, real life, touch you, and etc. Hopefully soon. Not in a sexual way, of course, but yeah, appropriateness all around. This was great. Thank you so much, Lou.
Thank you.